Well, we did not expect to be here on a Friday night, but due to games being moved back with the Hurricanes situation, we are proud to be live from Fred Lane Field for only the second time this season, as a rivalry that has occurred every year since 2013 occurs again tonight, and a rivalry that dates back all the way to 2008. It's the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week between the Christian Community School Colts and the Franklin Classical School Knights in a epic showdown. Welcome, everybody, inside of the broadcast booth. I'm Spencer Thompson. Pleasure to have you with us. Keep Zachary in your thoughts and condolences, especially with him recovering from his traumatic brain injury right now. He is safe, he is well, but he is going to be out for a few weeks. But I'll introduce my broadcast partner in just a moment. But we've got a contest that is set to be great, as every rivalry this team has great. 8 years is the exact time it has been since Franklin Classical School has gotten a win against the Christian Community School Colts. And Classical, with a new head coach at the helm, youngest head coach in the league, it's going to be a tough challenge, especially with Clay Lott out for the year. However, their players are a lot taller and it looks like a lot more beefed up than Christian Community. But for the Colts, they're just a young team. And just because they're young, that does not mean that they cannot compete. They have Jordan Flanders still at the helm, one of the most winning coaches in Middle Tennessee 8-man football history. And although this game doesn't impact the playoffs, it certainly has implications going forward in their motivation and who has the momentum on the stretch for the Colts. And welcome from his debut a few weeks ago now to his debut in the broadcast booth, Mr. Jack Helwig, my color analyst for the night. Glad to have you with us.
I'll say it's good to be here. I mean, unfortunately, it came to some circumstances to be here, but, you know, I'm glad to be broadcasting my first game.
Yes, and it's definitely a good game for you to be on your first debut. Let's talk about Christian Community. We saw those first two losses they had for the season against a tough Tennessee Heat team and a tough Freedom Cowboys team. But the Colts, since then, they fired back. They only took one loss on the entire season to South Haven aside from those two. And that game especially mattered because it didn't get them directly into the postseason. But this is a Christian Community Colts team that's been so much better since the start of the year, even though Will Adams is out.
I mean, the main key we got to look at here is injuries, not just from Christian Community side, but also from FCS. I mean, both teams are battling through a lot of adversity tonight. Even though this game doesn't affect the playoff picture, it's still a momentum booster for the rest of the season. And, you know, just for these guys to go out here and play tonight, there's going to be a lot of things to look forward to coming the rest of the season.
Now, Will Adams out for Christian Community, out likely for the season with an ankle injury he suffered against the South Haven Patriots. But Franklin Classical, they've got no wins in division. Although this is not a division game, they're looking forward to potentially Division II or maybe even going to one of the national tournaments later on in the season. But Franklin Classical, this winning culture, it takes time to build, and that's what we're seeing Isaiah Austin do right now.
Exactly. I mean, as you see from their lineup, I mean, they have talent across the board. They have guys that are tall, guys that are fast, guys that can catch the ball. They have the team. They just need to get that foundation going so they can move forward. I think this is a team that could really surprise a lot of people, but it's all about getting those key players into the roles that they need and, you know, getting that production in line.
They got some key players that it's going to be interesting to see. Colts and Knights in the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week next.
stand. We're going to begin the evening with a word of prayer, and then we'll have our national anthem.
Please bow your heads. Father of lights, we thank you for bringing each and every person out here tonight. We thank you for safety, for security, for your promises of hope. We ask your blessing upon this game tonight, that these guys would go out there with full sportsmanship, full athleticism, and full safety. We thank you for all your blessings. In your son's name, amen.
I'd like to direct your attention to the 50-yard line, to our flag. Miss Austin is going to sing the national anthem for us.
Can you see white dawns early light? What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
We are about a minute out for some football. Let's hear it.
Just a few moments away from the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week kicking off here at Fred Lane Field in Franklin, Tennessee. The Colts and the Knights colliding in a rivalry that's dated back, first collided in 2008, played a few times in between, but ever since 2013, they have matched up every single year. Last year, of course, at May Flanders Field, the alternate comes here to Fred Lane Field. And you'll see the Knights come out in just a moment. A lot of questions on if they were going to delay tonight's game or push it to either Saturday or bring it up to Thursday because of the hurricane storms that were incoming. Classified now to a Category 1, as was a Category 3 when traveling back this morning from Alabama. And that's why, of course, the Heat pushed back their game against Evangel in an amazingly close fight. And the classical Knights trying to get a win on this rivalry for the first time in about 8 years. And proud again to be on the bleachers for Fred Lane Field. And looks like the Knights won the toss and elected to defer, so Colts will receive for the first half. Jack, with an injury on both sides, with Clay Lott out for the season, Will Adams injured from South Haven, not sure how long he is out for. What's one of your keys to the game of what you're looking forward to see between these two teams?
So I've kind of taken keys from both teams in order for what does each team need to do in order to win this game. CCS just needs to play their best football. They need to come out, they need to score early, get a good lead, and then hold that lead, and then trust in their defense like they've done all season. With FCS, they have a ton of talent on the team. I think they need to beat CCS at their own game. I think if they come out on top, start this first quarter off early, we might have CCC struggle.
67 degrees, mostly cloudy, and showers set to come through the night, and we'll have a return. Away we go. It's returned here for Miles Bernard, who picks it up, going to about the 45-yard line. And we'll see this Colts offense start out tonight's matchup in an offense that has been pretty impressive in the going forward from their game against the Freedom Cowboys at home. Since that 0-2 start, it's been mostly uphill for Christian Community, that other than their tough loss last week in a battle for first place in the North against the South Haven Patriots.
And that game was just due to them going away from what they do best. They were trying to pass the ball, started with 2 interceptions early, and, the game was just far out of hand from the first quarter.
Let's see if they can keep it from going out of hand. Here's Brandon Chun on the left side, and gets brought down a gain of about 8-9 yards. And the sophomore in Brandon Chun gets past that Knights defense for a gain of 7-8.
And this is exactly what you're wanting to see tonight. I mean, just running the football over and over, smash mouth, get in your face. I mean, he trucks them right there. I mean, that's exactly what CCS needs to do in order to win this game.
This Knights defense trying to make a statement stop on the first offensive drive. Another formation, run on the right side. And Knights defense wraps around Logan Duval, the freshman.
And this is all you're really needing right here. It's just a first down, another first down, just draining this defense. Because CCS, if they play up to what their defense potential is, they're going to get a quick stop here and get that ball back. So if you can work out this FCS defense, who knows where this game can go.
So on a new set of downs with a 1st and 10, the handoff up the middle, and tripped up looked like Aaron Malham, the sophomore, getting the carry, a gain of about 3 for a 2nd and 7. And this Knights defense has given up a decent amount of points throughout their games, and seems that when they have any collisions at home, it's a high-scoring situation for their opponents, as this Knight Nation tries to get their team fired up through their cheering. 2nd and 7. And a sweep to Chun. Chun finally gets brought down after a gain of 3, maybe 4 yards there, and brings up 3rd down.
And now here's a really big play, but still not over with the drive, because let's say we have 2 more plays here, just 4 yards to get. CCS can definitely do this. They just have to just keep pounding that rock, going over and over again. There's no reason why they should even be passing the ball.
One of the many patterns for Christian Communities, if they control the tempo of the game, they can get control of the tempo and keep the clock running down. That's one of their strong suits. It's another pass attempt, but that Knights defense gets a big stop on 4th down. It's an attempted carry up the middle by Will Cowan, and that Knight defense, nothing doing. Likely the punt team set to go for Colts.
And that was they just slipped right through that O-line. I couldn't really see what happened there, but they just went straight through that gap they tried to create for running back, and then just blew it up completely behind the line of scrimmage. And they're going to go for it here.
Well, possibly a punt formation here on 4th down, but might be trying a fake punt here, and they're going to go for it on 4th down across the middle. Incomplete. Pass was intended across the middle to Asher Nix, and we'll get our first replay of the game as the Knights force a turnover on downs.
And the interesting thing is, this wasn't a bad play design. Usually I don't like CCS's passing game. This was a excellent play. He had him wide open, just a little bit under and overthrown, I guess you could say. Just unfortunate. But let's hope CCS can make a good stop here.
And we'll see how this Knights offense comes out on their first offensive drive. Of course, at the helm with Samuel Hubbard, who's been a great strength for the Classical Knights. And on a 1st and 10, past their 40-yard line, it'd be a quarterback keep as Hubbard gets to the outside. Samuel Hubbard with a big gain will get across to the Colts territory for another 1st down.
And this is what we talked about in pregame. It's going to be matchups. as we're going to get a replay right here, he just completely cuts it down, and then he beats this first guy right here, as you see coming up, and then he just takes it for a good first down.
Hubbard with the program for several years and been one of the big key makers for Classical. On a new set of downs, Hubbard looking for something. He's got pressure. He's going to toss it over the middle and diving back incomplete. Pass intended there for Salstrom, just through his hands.
And he had plenty of time to throw that ball. The blocking from the O-line was perfect there. He had no pressure coming at him, plenty of time to make the throw. Just a little bit under, and receiver couldn't get to it in time.
The Colts defense likes to keep the pressure on early. Shovel pass up to the right. Eli Cornett, the transfer from Centennial, who was in the Classical program his freshman year, went to Centennial for 2 years. Gets a gain for third down, a gain of about 7 yards on the play.
And then Asher Nix made a great tackle right there as he was going to the outside. Just completely brought him down, shut him down from getting a good run at the outside, just like the quarterback keep there, the very first play of the drive, which got them that good chunk of yardage.
So now 3 yards to gain to get a new set of downs as Hubbard gets the motion on the play. Hand it off again. Eli Cornett breaks a tackle. How about another? Cornett pushing through. First down and forced out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Eli Cornett has been a fantastic weapon on offense for this Classical Knights squad.
I mean, I'm good. My goodness, you want to talk about stiff arms? You get one, you get one, you get one. I mean, call him Oprah, honestly, because he's just handing them out left, right, and center.
First and 10 from the 20-yard line.
And now with 7:29 left to go, it's now another first and 10. Hubbard again to Cornett. Cornett cutting through. Flag in the backfield. We'll get our first penalty of the game. And Odell Bradley, the Whitecap for tonight's contest. And we'll get word for him for a second.
Hold on offense, 10-yard penalty, still be first down.
So Odell Bradley and company officiating tonight's contest. Trying to keep everything in line for Classical Knights and Christian Community Colts. Odell Bradley has done a few divisional matchups, been the Whitecap for several high-stakes contests. And with that penalty, it moves it back for a first and 20. That's on the 32-yard line. And Hubbard tosses it across. The catch is made. Reception by Jed Mangrum. And Mangrum gets it back to the original line to gain, maybe just a yard short for now, a second down and 11.
It did look like he was a tad bit short. It's going to be a little close to call. Yeah, they're rolling it second down here. And so far, the offense look very good. CCS look like they've been struggling so far. And just like I said at pregame, things you want to look for, if they can take an early lead, things might look bad for CCS.
Second and 12. Cornett, the ball in his hands again, tripped up in the backfield, nowhere to go. It's a good move by the junior Asher Nix. And as you mentioned earlier, he's just making good defensive plays and to stop that Classical offense from going.
Well, what he's doing is just containing. After that very first play where they got that first down immediately, I already know mentally they were just, we can't let them get outside. That's where they're going to beat us. So containing the running back, quarterback, whatever you need, just keeping it inside the line is exactly where you need to go in order to stop them.
On a 3rd and 11, Hubbard will toss to the right side, incomplete. And incomplete will result in a 4th and 11, but just outside the 20-yard line. Don't be surprised if they go for it.
And it looks like they are keeping their offensive unit out there. I mean, they had the play right there. It's just dropped it, plain and simple. I mean, it was a good pass. Hit him right in his upper numbers. Just unfortunate.
4th and 11, they spread it out. We'll see if they can get the first down here. Potential scoring play. Hubbard under pressure is going to air it out into the end zone. Incomplete. Just through the hands of his receiver. And that'll be a turnover on downs for Christian Community.
And he had all kinds of time. I mean, this O-line play has been very good for FCS. And he had the receiver once again, just another drop ball. And let's see if that right there is going to be crucial.
Garasi, the intended receiver there, the senior. And now Christian Community will start on their second offensive drive. See what this Colt offense can work up. Jordan Flanders, the offensive coordinator and head coach. And the run, but that Knights defense immediately reads through it. Looks like Cy Irvine, the freshman, was on the carry. And that Knight defense is just reading right through some of these rush plays.
I mean, this is the second run play in a row besides that one incompletion on fourth down that they've just completely blitzed the gap and just shut down the running game.
It's been a very fast first half thus far. As now face a 2nd and 12 with that loss of 2. Again, this is Knight Nation trying to get their team hyped up. This is a pitch to the right. And another rush attempt by Cy Irvine is resulted with maybe a gain of a yard or 2 on the play. It brings up 3rd down.
Oh, there's a fumble on the play.
Ruled a fumble, and they
FCS
rolled
got
the
it.
other way. Let's see if we can. Let's see if I can get the back end of the replay there. And so turnover on downs. Knights get it, a big defensive stop. So you see the back end of that as they were bringing him down, and I got looked like there was a fumble there. And again, you see the back end of the replay. There's not much you can interpret from that.
Yeah, it was just a little bit too clumbled up there to really tell it was a fumble, but this FCS offense has new life in them.
They're about where they started when they had their latest offensive drive, back on the 20-yard line, so now in the red zone after a big defensive stop. Now a chance to capitalize on it as Hubbard tossed across the left, incomplete. Pass intended for Salstrom.
And again, just went through his hands. This FCS passing offense, even though I don't think they haven't completed a pass yet, it looks good. The plays are there. They're getting open. It's just about coming up with the ball.
So now a 2nd and 10. Toss right side, incomplete. Almost into the hands of Asher Nix. Couldn't get the interception there, and it'll bring up a 3rd and 10 for this Knight offense.
So Spencer, if you're calling the plays right here, what are you looking for? What do you think on 3rd down will get you that new life?
I mean, there's a lot of things you could do here. It looks like with the way they got a receiver on the left, maybe deceptive to try and get a pass going, but we'll see what they do here. 3rd down, they sweep it out to Cornett. Eli Cornett has got the room. Can he get past this man? It's going to be brought down, ruled just short of the 1st down marker, and looks like we may have a flag on the play. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna get a flag reading here in just a moment from. Yep, looks like we got a penalty.
Blindside block on the offense. 15-yard penalty. Gonna be 3rd down.
It's a blindside block, and they bring it back. Gives them another chance at a 3rd down here, but brings it back several yards.
I was wondering how, I mean, that, again, once again, to the outside is how they're getting all their running plays. Because as soon as they lose contain, they got themselves a 1st down, but unfortunately a penalty brings it all back.
Bring that back for about a 3rd down and a quarter of the field. See what this Knights offense can do. Upward here the climb. Hubbard airs it out, intended for Salstrom, incomplete, just through his hands. And that type of play is something that Salstrom could have made, but the coverage, as you'll see on the replay, is what got him.
And once again, another ball that just slips through his hands. He had plenty of time to throw that ball. I mean, he beat the defensive back right there. It was just, again, another drop ball.
So now a 4th down and quarter of the field. Obviously try to get the first down here, but whatever yardage they gain will pin CCS deeper into their territory. It's a turnover on downs. Hubbard airs out to the right and incomplete. It's an interception. A pick there. Looks like Asher Nix on the left side staying on his feet. And he's going to go all the way. Asher Nix, the first score of the game, goes to the Colts. Touchdown.
My goodness, and that is what CCS needed right there, was finally a pick. As you're going to see from the replay, it was a perfect jump ball, but Asher Nix just came up with it, and then he stayed in bounds, did a good cut inside of field right there, and then one person to beat, and then he's gone. First points go to CCS, exactly what they needed.
Colts trying to start out with the tempo, and perfect chance for them to take control of it as the Colts meet on the sideline. Not sure if there's a timeout, and there's a flag.
Blocking back on the receiving team. Gonna be a 10-yard penalty. It's gonna be first down. Black.
So no touchdown taken off the board with that block in the back. However, it's good field advantage as they enforce it from the spot of the foul, and they're going to spot it just outside the red zone.
I mean, if you want to go back to that, I mean, Asher Nix has been everywhere this first quarter. I mean, he's just been really leading the CCS defense. And even though it's not a touchdown, you have great field position here. I mean, hopefully you can get some points on the board. It's unfortunate that 6 comes off, but you can get 6 right back on easy.
So exactly the kind of play CCS needed. A defensive turnover for both teams thus far. Rush on the left side to Logan Duval, staying on his feet. Logan Duval short of the end zone, but that'll be a 1st and goal.
I mean, what a powerful run there by Duval. I mean, he just completely breaks a tackle, and I mean, he had 7 yards after contact there, which easily got him that first down, which brings them into the red zone right here, and they're going to hurry up.
This Colts offense now messing around trying to keep it going as they now have a 1st and goal. As fake pass, rush up the middle, and waiting for the ruling. Touchdown! Christian Community with the first score of the game.
And that's how you bounce back after a play comes back from a flag. And just like I said, you can get an easy 6 points just from that. And also check out the blocking there. I mean, that left side completely just opens up and then just breaks tackles. And he's dragging people into that end zone. Good job from Christian Community there.
No field goal kicker for the Colts, so they will go for 2 here. And handoff again up the middle. Attempted 2-point conversion by Duval is no good, so 6-0. A lot of time shaved off the clock, and a defensive interception by Asher Nix turns into a 6-0 lead. .356 left to go in the first as the Colts capitalize on a defensive interception and kick it off here to this Knights offense. Squib kick is picked up and fallen on at about the 36, 37-yard line. And shaves off another 3 seconds, and looks like the rain is beginning to fall here in Franklin. Feeling some droplets from outside the tent, and it's going to be a ground-heavy game if that rain starts getting any heavier.
Which is exactly why things haven't been looking so good for the passing. I mean, the balls have been there, they just aren't catching. I don't know if Isaiah said anything to them coming on the sidelines, like we need to bring these balls down, we need to start catching things, or if they're going to go to the run, we're going to see here on this first drive.
On a 1st and 10,
Looking to run.
Hubbard keeps it, and
Hit pretty hard. About the
that Christian Community sideline just getting completely hyped up about that play.
And guess who made the tackle? Asher Nix. I mean, again, he is everywhere on this field this first quarter.
It was a hard hit, but Samuel Hubbard was back up and ready to play.
So gain of 5 yards there for Hubbard, and makes it now a 2nd and 5.
Hubbard takes from the gun.
Handoff from the middle, and cut back to the outside. Eli Cornett is so good with this, and with the stiff arm, he's brought down by Josh Madden.
It looked like it came a little weird if you want to get a replay on that. It seemed like he grabbed his face mask there. I'm not too sure.
We'll get the back end of this. It's Cornett again cutting out. Tried to get the stiff arm. It looked like Cornett may have face masked Madden. Too close to call on that, but
It's just weird. It did kind of like a front flip
Yeah.
there at the end.
3rd and 5. Hubbard passes it, fakes the run, and another interception. And who was it again? Asher Nix.
I mean, you want to talk about, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but you want to give Madden takeover to somebody. That's the guy you want to give it to. I mean, just he's coming down with more balls in the offense.
You see it right there. Asher Nix just knew exactly what was going to happen.
I mean, that's good old street football. One-on-one, jump up, whoever's going to get it, gets it, and then Asher Nix has won every single one of those jump balls today.
And Christian Community looking to capitalize on another defensive stand. They start inside of the 40-yard line. There's another handoff up the middle to Duval. Duval about back to the line of scrimmage for 2nd down.
And FCS just doing what they do best, just flooding the gap. It's either it goes for 8 to 9 or it goes for 0 to -2. And what FCS needs to do is just keep committing to that run, because we know that Colts passing game hasn't really been shown that much this game, but I don't think they're going to go to it if the running game's looking good. And what you want to do if you want to win as FCS is you want the Colts to go to that passing game.
So actually a loss of a yard for a 2nd and 11. This classical fan base trying to get their defense hyped. Pitch in the backfield. Malham met by several classical linemen.
If you want to get a replay on that, that was just a great contain there by FCS.
Third down and a long 9.
Because what the Colts try to do here is they try to cut it to the outside, but again, they just contain it, forces him inside, and then they get a nice easy stop there on the run.
About 70 seconds left to go. Colts are facing a 3rd down and 9. Fake handoff again. They'll pass it across the middle to Asher Nix, just out of his reach. Asher Nix trying to make a one-handed catch there. Would have been the catch of the season if he had made it, but
You know, I would have thought how high he was. I saw it was Asher Nix there, and I went, he's going to get this. Just unfortunate. He just didn't get turned around in time.
the junior already with 2 interceptions. Almost had a pick 6 that had not been negated by a penalty. But now on a 4th and 9, Christian Community in this situation earlier, they did not punt it away. So the question now becomes, what's going through the mind of Jordan Flanders?
And correct me if I'm wrong, have we had a complete pass this first quarter?
Don't think so. Maybe one.
I feel like we have one, but I feel like we haven't. I feel like the only complete pass we've seen is to Asher Nix on interceptions.
It's been a ground game for sure. And timeout.
Timeout. White.
Timeout called by the Colts. Perfect time to let you guys know the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week, sponsored by Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Grow, Live, Give, helping you fit all of the pieces together in your financial puzzle. Tennessee Heat Athletics. Visit TennesseeHeatSports.com. And by Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, Clarksville, and Goodlettsville. Let's get Jets. Just about 60 seconds even left to go in the first quarter as Colts face a 4th and 9. 2 timeouts left for them in the first. Audible called by Belcher. Belcher scrambles, he's got pressure, brought down in the backfield. And that classical defense under the leadership of the tackle there made by Zach Penrod. It's going to keep the Classical Knights in this football game.
And from that audible right there, it looked like they were trying to run a fake jet sweep to maybe get the defense going, but FCS was not falling for it whatsoever. And honestly, it might have been the right call to hand that ball off on that jet sweep because they completely went through that interior offensive line.
Now 1st and 10 on about the 43. Hubbard across the middle. What a catch! Incredible reception by Joshua Salstrom, trying to push through that Colts defense. Finally brought down at the 38-yard line. And this is the reason why Salstrom was a former Extreme All-Star and probably set for Gatlinburg.
And that's something like Iron Man Edelman in the NFL is going to play. I mean, he just completely muscles that ball. And look how many guys are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 around him. 3 guys on him. And he still gets an extra 2 yards there at the end.
About 30 seconds left and winding down in the first. Hubbard and got flags in the backfield.
False start on offense. 5-yard penalty. Gonna still be first down.
At least we heard it on our end. Looks like they called it on their running back and make that a 1st and 15.
It's kind of a little funny. He said snapped it too slow running for the running back.
And 1st and 15. So rush up the middle. Cornett dangerous when he avoids tackles. How about another? And Eli Cornett is going to go inside the 20. So putting the Knights in the red zone in the closing seconds of the first.
I mean, looking like Shady McCoy in the snow right there. I mean, he just completely cuts it in, cuts it out. Look there. Whoop, got one. Gets another there. I mean, great moves there. And then that's exactly what FCS needed to keep this drive alive.
So it looks like they're going to let it wind down here at Fred Lane Field for the first quarter. And after 12 minutes, it stays a close one. Christian Community capitalizes on a interception by Asher Nix. 6-0, the Colts lead on the road against the Classical Knights in the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. Started the second quarter. 6-0 lead for Christian Community over Franklin Classical. Spencer Thompson will get you in the second. Incomplete pass intended across the middle for Salstrom. Spencer Thompson, Jack Helwig bringing you to the game. It's 68 degrees outside. 59% chance of rain within the next hour. And that's, so far it's been clear skies. Just a little bit of a light breeze. And now in a 2nd and 10, we'll see if Classical can push it in the end zone for the first touchdown of the game. Salstrom at the scramble, tries to get it out, but brought down in the backfield. That's a tackle made by Josh Ronquist. And the junior prevents Hubbard from getting a shovel pass out, and a loss on the play.
And it looked like he really did want to make that shovel pass happen. It just seemed like he kind of fumbled there, not literally, but just couldn't make a proper decision there. Didn't know who the defense is going to commit to, and just unfortunate. Great play by CCS.
About a 3rd down and 18. Hubbard, it's back over to his man. How about Salstrom? Salstrom, a gain of a few yards on the play, not enough to get back to even the original 1st down marker, and a 4th down inside the red zone. Classical will go for it here, but this is a tough situation.
Yeah, this is, I wouldn't say you need a score, but in order to build momentum going into the half, you kind of need the score. You've been really struggling there on offense. Asher Nix has been making some great plays on defense, and now you got him pinned. So this is the time to strike.
4th down, Hubbard, toss incomplete. Asher Nix in coverage again. Could have been a reception there, it looks like by Gerasi, and 10:38 left to go in the second. The Colts take over. Another defensive stand by Tommy Thornton's led defense.
And he had the pass. It was in his hands, but Asher Nix knocked the ball out of his hands and had a terrific first half so far. 2 interceptions, a pass deflection, almost a touchdown, but couldn't get turned around. CCS is looking very good this first half.
So CCS will take over on downs about the 17-yard line and we'll have 1st down.
First down deep in their own territory. We'll see if the Colts can march it down the field. On a 1st down, across the middle, rush for several yards. Another carry by Logan Duval. Give the Colts about 2nd down and 4. Excuse me, a 2nd down and 6, a gain of 4.
Not a bad game there. This is just the time where you really need to get that interior game going. You need to get that momentum going for the running game, because what FCS has done a great job of is whenever CCS tries to create these holes there on offense, they've just been flooding them and creating no space at all for CCS to make cutbacks or anything like that.
This Colts offense faces a 2nd and 6. Another handoff. There's a flag on the side. They're going to stop it here for a false start.
Okay. AG, we got it. D, we got it. Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, still be 2nd down.
Again, Odo Bradley and company officiating tonight's contest under the leadership of Ronnie Perkins, making sure that these players stay safe and the rules of the game are upheld. And gain of 5 yards, so about a 2nd and 3. Colts hand it off again. Another carry by Duval is going to get the 1st down a little bit more. Staying on his feet to avoid that tackle. Finally takes 2 Classical players to wrap him up. And this freshman, we talk about it all the time. Classical is a Christian Community is a young team, but they managed to make big plays, especially from the freshmen.
One thing you want to look for a young guy is physicality, because you can't coach that. I mean, completely runs through him. And I mean, for a freshman, how can you not love to see that? I mean, terrific football there.
And that moves him to about the 42-yard line as the Colts try to rush it up the middle and gain of 1 or 2 yards. That is Sam Garrett.
Number 24 is met at the line of scrimmage.
And once again, you're going to hear me say it once. You're going to probably hear me say it all night because I've been doing it well. They are creating no type of space for the interior run. And as we saw last play, wide receiver blocking was good there, and that's why they were able to get it good on that outside and why they were able to pick up that first down. I think for CCS, they really just need to stick with that outside run game.
This Colts offense facing a 2nd and 9. Toss deep. A few times they try to toss, and Asher Nix in coverage. Jed Mangrum, the junior, batting it down and not letting Asher Nix get a reception there. He's got receptions on the defensive side, just nothing on the offensive.
And as we're going to get a replay right here, I just want to point out one thing, the height difference.
Long 9 for CCS.
I mean, Asher Nix has a good 4 inches on him right there. I mean, he reads the ball. He doesn't go for it. He goes for the swat. He plays that instead of Nix. And then makes a great stop there and then forces a 3rd down.
Even though it's not homecoming night, that was a few weeks ago for Franklin Classical. This Knights Nation wants their team to get a W. And toss across the middle, incomplete. Pass intended across the middle to, looks like it's passed there to Miles Bernard. And question is, do you have the punt team come out here across the 40? But we've seen what Christian Community has done thus far. No punts yet. So
I don't see why you wouldn't bring the punt team out. Your defense has been playing very good. Asher Nix has been all over. Whenever we've seen FCS has had the ball, the only time they've been able to make something of is when they have short field. So forcing them to drive all the way down seems like the most ideal thing for CCS to do, but we'll see.
There's a pass interference on the defense. We missed that.
I didn't see a pass interference. I'm not sure who was on. It seemed like the ball was very low.
We'll see the replay on that, and that's tough. That's tough. Not sure who they called it on, but
that was that
regardless.
2nd down. That wasn't the one before, but that they called. But yeah.
But flag in the backfield, and looks like they're moving it back 5 yards.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still will be first down.
Move it back 5 yards, and it's tough to think on that pass interference because you can't really, you can only see the end product of that. You can't see if there's any shoving or blocking from there on Classical's part, but
Yeah.
tough to see on now a 1st and 15 with motion there as Colts, and that Knight defense gets to Belcher. Several Classical players get down, and
Flag on the play.
the flag. And looks like a personal foul on Penrod.
Personal foul. Face mask. On the defense. 15-yard penalty. Be first down.
So we heard it on our end. That was called on Zach Penrod, the junior, and another lucky break for the Colts as they go into Knight's territory.
And that's just a stupid penalty. There's no reason to grab the face mask. You have 3 guys on him. You completely blew up the play there. And then you're just completely going against yourself.
So now on a first down, they spot it for it's first down again as rushed to the right side by Aaron Malham. And well, the whistle several times and a gain of several yards for now about a 2nd down and 3.
I really want to go back to that penalty. I know it was first down and created another first down, but you don't want to give them unnecessary yards, especially when you had a sack there, because now they're in your territory, and you're already down by 6 points. You don't want to give them more than they already have.
2nd and 3. Malham again. He's got a little bit of an opening. Malham's got room. Staying in bounds. Finally spun down to about the 25-yard line. And Malham, the sophomore, making big plays for the Colts.
I mean, two really impressive running backs that are both very young. They both run with a physical, dominant energy behind both of them. Very promising for both of them.
It's now a 1st and 10 outside the red zone. See if this Colts offense can capitalize. There's Malham again. Avoids a tackle and gets to about the 10-yard line. Just outside of it, another 1st down as they'll move the chains.
And as we're going to get a replay right here, I just want to point this out real quick. Running with physicality. We're going to say he buries through him and gets an extra 3 yards there at the end of the run.
And Jed Mangrum buried there, and
Timeout. Black.
timeout by Franklin Classical. And perfect time for us to remind you, thekingdom.com, Extreme Game of the Week. Sponsored by Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Grow, Live, Give, helping you fit all of the pieces together in your financial puzzle. Tennessee Heat Athletics. Visit TennesseeHeatSports.com. And by Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, Clarksville, and Goodlettsville. Let's get Jets. .13 left to go before halftime. As timeout called by Classical. Each team 2 timeouts remaining. And tossed by Belcher to the end zone. Asher Nix, touchdown! His first reception of the game results in 6 for the Colts.
CCS is in for the score. After a pass
I mean, you want to talk about a guy that's completely taken the game into his own hands.
they'll put 6 on the board.
That guy's name is Asher Nix. And as you can see, we kind of get it there. He just completely beats the safety there on the post route, who's then going to the outside, and then beats him over top, and then gets an easy 6 points.
Beat Jones and Mangrum on that to get another 6 on the board for the Colts. And now a 2-point conversion attempt to make it a 14-point game. And handoff to Malham again. He's got the opening. He's in. Make that 14-0 the Colts lead, and Classical has yet to respond as of now. And we can give you a scoring update from, it is in the 2nd quarter right now. The Freedom Cowboys colliding with the South Haven Christian School Patriots. They lead 16-14 into the 2nd quarter right now. A close game. We got a picture with recent Extreme Player of the Week. Got his Chick-fil-A cards to him on the. He was en route going up to South Haven. Joshua Butler, congratulations to him. Got a picture with him prior to him colliding, and right now probably benefiting his team a lot by leading by 2 points against the South Haven Patriots. Only the 2nd time that they've met overall. And that last game was at South Haven.
Listen, I know it's probably not like the best thing in the world for high school kids to get a Chick-fil-A card, but as a broke college student, free food is free food.
And flag thrown.
There's a flag on the kickoff.
Probably an illegal procedure of some sorts. Waiting on the call from.
It's like the kicking team may have outrun the kicker.
See if we can get the call from Bradley. They usually don't make a penalty call on those procedures or anything on the kickoffs. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but it looks like an illegal procedure on the kicking team, so they move it back to the 35-yard line.
And they try to be a little sneaky there. They
Yep.
did try to go for an offside.
Or onside kick, yep.
Yeah, and it would have looked like FCS got it, so it's kind of good there was a penalty because they might have to try it. They might be able to try this again or kick it deep.
Thank you to all 33 of you watching tonight. Spencer Thompson and Jack Helwig. Two-man crew bringing you the action here from Fred Lane Field in Franklin, Tennessee. And a squib kick is picked up. That's Eli Cornett who picks it up and gets a gain not quite to midfield, but very close to the 49-yard line. And we'll see if this night's offense can respond to the 14 points scored thus far by Christian Community.
Two things I want to point out. The two-man crew tonight, me and Spencer, Zachary, we miss you a lot.
We do.
Hopefully you're doing all right. So you shot me a little text earlier. Appreciate you watching, even though you're probably growing out your beard, chilling on the whatever.
He showed it to us. The beard looks good. He should stick with it, man. It looks good on him.
It doesn't look bad. Yeah. But one thing, I know this FCS team is probably really frustrated with how things are going on offense and defense. Let's hope they can put these frustrations aside and hopefully get some points on the board.
1st and 10 essentially at midfield with motion. See what Hubbard can do. He's going to pass it. Across the middle, the catch is made. Good reception for staying on his feet. And finally he's brought down after getting a first down gain there. Didn't catch the number of the classical player, but plays like that are why this offense is going to be very successful going down the stretch.
It was actually Nicholas Garcia, I believe.
Gerasi got the reception there.
My apologies there. But both these teams are playing very physical first half.
Gerasi was a big name that we called several times in Classical's earlier game this season as rush up the middle for a gain of a few yards. In their game against Riverside, we saw that intensity come out as now 6 minutes, 20 seconds.
One thing I've kind of picked up on is they're running a lot of these sweeps and things like that.
And on another sweep pass, 2nd and 9. It's carried by Joshua Sahlstrom. Trying to get forward, and it's another few yards gain there. It'll be a 3rd down.
And that's the first time they've actually gone to one of these sweeps, whether it's a fake handoff, a sweep. It doesn't look like it's tripping up that CCS defense too much, but we'll see.
Toss, catch. Reception there as Sahlstrom tries to fight through that Colts defense. And they continue to say he stays in bounds there, and it'll bring up 4th down. But it shows that Colt defense is acknowledging that they're now adjusting it because of Sahlstrom being one of the key targets for Hubbard.
It's just they don't seem like they're falling for any trickery, and FCS seems like they've been going for a lot of trickery this first half with a lot of play actions, a lot of fake sweeps, a lot of audibles and things like that. But CCS has been biting on a single thing. So wonder how long they're going to stick to that type of offense.
Got 5 minutes left to go in the first half. Plenty of time to work with on a 4th and 5. Motion there. They take the handoff. It's a pass across the middle and incompletion. Looked like it was a miscommunication on the route as now Colts turn it over on downs. Coming up on the Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay halftime report, we'll give our thoughts and analysis of the first half so far, and we will also give you an update as we have it from the game between the South Haven Patriots and the Freedom Cowboys. It's all coming up on the Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay halftime report.
Now, the ideal situation for FCS in order to stage a comeback is to get a quick stop and then hopefully force CCS to go for it on 4th down in this short field.
Good news is plenty of time for them to make some sort of comeback, but they have to make a stop here as Malham carrying it again, staying on his feet. Big gain to about the 49-yard line. You talk about athleticism, you talk about great plays, Aaron Malham is putting the Colts in great position to succeed tonight.
And one thing that kind of worries me, even about young players, as we'll see on this replay right here, he does run through people as he's been doing all night, but the ball almost came out as he was coming down.
Close, yeah. I can see it.
And that's just with young players and things like that, something you have to look out for. But we might have a fumble here if he has trouble securing that ball. FCS might try to go for a punch out.
And they give it to Malham again. Back to the line of scrimmage is where they spotted for a 2nd and 10.
CCS with a give. Nothing doing. Knights shut that down.
Of course, Coach Jordan Flanders, one of the longest, one of the longer ones at the head coaching position around the conference, and trying to coordinate this offense down the field, almost to the 50-yard line, trying to push them into Knights territory and go up by three scores. 2nd and 10. Belcher under pressure gets the pass off and incomplete. Again, he intends to pass for Asher Nix, and that's part of the reason why they're such a rush-heavy team, is because Belcher has had issues on accuracy, but it also comes down to, with Belcher, more practice and more workouts can get him up to speed.
Well, that, and also every time CCS has tried to throw the ball, it's immediate pressure on his part.
Yep.
I mean, FCS has just been inches away from him, and it's kind of hard to make those throws whenever you have hands in your face and you're feeling that pressure, especially as a young guy. So, but the passing game hasn't looked too bad. I think if they could just buy a little bit more time, then things could get going, but we'll see.
Now a 3rd down and 10. This Knights defense trying to make a big stop here. Belcher under pressure again. Gets the pass off right side and just a shove, but doesn't bring him down. And pushes the pile. Not enough for the 1st down, but easier chance to convert the 4th down here.
I mean, again, he dragged about 3 guys there for easily 3 yards. He comes up with that ball. It looks like they have him down right here. It looked like they tried to go for a strip there, but it just did not work, and then he just drops his back and then gets 3 yards. And it looks like they're going to rule that a 1st down.
Yeah, it's close there. It looked like the positioning, but ruled a 1st down. So another set of downs for Christian Community. It looked close from where the official came in from the side. It looked like it was ruled a 4th down, but looks like they spotted it further for a 1st down. So new set of downs in Knights territory for the Colts. Belcher hands it off. Little bit of an opening there for Duval, and brings up a 2nd down.
I kind of want to go back to it. I feel like on our end, he did not get that far. I feel like he looked a
Let's
little
look at
bit
the replay
short.
one more time. So look at the 1st down marker here as stopped short of the 40-yard line. The 1st down marker, it's hard to tell because it's kind of at an angle there.
Yeah.
Where the official came in. They have to make that call on the field unless they have the camera angle right down the 1st down
And
indicator.
I'm not
so.
saying on any means officiating made a
Course
bad
not.
call.
2nd and 9. And that Knight defense stops the rush from occurring from Duval.
And you got to be careful there because there was almost another flag. It could have been a horse collar, but they did not call it because it was not. But, again, stupid penalties can get them stupid yards. That can easily get them a 1st down, keep the drive going. And we do not have the replay, but as we saw there, he grabbed close to his shoulder pads, close to his helmet, and brought him down that way instead of bringing him down by his waist, which could get a little bit of could cause a little bit of trip up.
Timeout. White.
2nd timeout of the half called by the Christian Community School Colts. About a minute 25 left to go before we get to the Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay halftime report. So we'll step aside for a few moments. 1:25 left to go before halftime as the Colts try to get a 3-possession lead going into the halftime locker room. Plenty of time to do so. And it's an over snap, goes all the way down in the backfield and immediately fallen on by Braden Chun. And all the way back on their own 40-yard line, and timeout called by the Knights with 1:17. So Classical out of timeouts now, but that's one of those situations for Classical. They're trying to, especially with a defensive stop like that, they're trying to give themselves enough time to march down the field after what we'd assume would be a punt, trying to march down the field and get a score before the half.
You want to talk about one of the biggest breaks because CCS was just chunking away. I mean, they had the ball with, I think, like 4:30 left, and they just took down this field, and now there's only a minute 17 left. And now with that bad snap, if they go for it here, FCS has really good field position in order to score before the half. And then with CCS, if they punt the ball, FCS still has a chance to drive all the way downfield and potentially get some points in before half.
Yeah, you can see us from up here, not in the press box, but the press bleachers per se. But you think CCS even goes for it here?
You know, there's been a lot of times where I thought they shouldn't go for it, and they've went for it. So I don't know. We will see.
Yeah. It's possible. We haven't seen a single punt this game, actually. This is the same situation we had last night with the with Evangel and the Tennessee Heat. We had a punt, our first punt of that game in the 4th quarter. It's a long game of trying on 4th down because they were deep in their opponent's territory.
And they were going to punt it.
And first punt of the game comes a little bit sooner as it deflects off of Cornett. He's going back to get the ball. He's going to take the return and will stay out of bounds at the 20-yard line.
You know, a good recovery there. Instead of trying to make something fancy, you just run straight out of bounds and give time for your offense to make a play and hopefully get some points on the board before the half.
Now 65 seconds left for the Knights to march down the field, and the question is, what will offensive coordinator Zach Ray do?
Honestly, it wouldn't hurt to keep going for those like deep balls. I mean, you have plenty of time in the pocket to make those throws, and they've been there. They've just been dropped. So it wouldn't hurt to see or at least throw up something and see what happens.
See what Tommy Thornton's defense can do here. They've had a shutout so far in the first half. Deep toss across the middle, and it's another interception. Miles Bernard gets the pick at about the 50-yard line, and Christian Community just turns it over for a 3rd time this game.
Disregard everything I just said.
I know you probably had a little bit of a premonition there, but that's Miles Bernard, the freshman, making the big play.
Go on. This is going to go on YouTube. Announcers jinx calls. throw it up. See what happens. Intercepted. I mean, a little bit underthrown. The receiver, it looked like, kind of gave up on the ball. Kind of hard to tell. But let's hope FCS can make another stop with 54 seconds remaining.
Christian Community again trying to go up 3 scores. They have a chance to do that right at midfield. Pitch in the backfield. It's to their man Malham. Malham getting to the outside, and good clock management to, although get a 1-yard gain, at least to stop the clock at 47.
And there was nowhere for him to go. They had the inside cut off because it took so long to get to the outside. And then the blocking wasn't there, so the outside wasn't there. And just example, nowhere to go. So the best play was for him to run out of bounds and conserve that clock as much as he can.
It's cold offense. What are they going to do?
As much as I hate on their pass game, I'm going to say it one more time. Let's throw it up to Astronix, and let's see what happens.
47.5 on the scoreboard. Knight Nation hoping for a stop. And a carry by Chun. Chun weaving through, a gain of only a yard or 2 for a 3rd down.
Not much. That play was stopped by the Reverend Miles Bernard.
And time called.
Timeout. White.
Christian Community's final timeout of the half.
Their last timeout.
33 seconds left, and
Let's hear it from
Christian Community taking some time to think it over because, you know, they've got 33 seconds. They have enough time to go 50 yards, especially with the weapons they have. But what's the big, what would you say is the big message that Flanders is giving to his guys in the huddle right now?
I'm thinking what Flanders is telling them, I'm not sure, but he should be telling them is we've been killing them all half, guys. Let's get some points on the board. Let's get a good leave. Let's recap. And that's exactly what you need to do. Just reassure your guys and say, listen, we've been beating them all game. Look at the scoreboard. We're winning right now. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to get more points on the board. We don't want to settle for, oh, we're winning, it's okay if something happens. No, we want points on the board because we know we can do it.
33 seconds. We've no timeouts for either team remain. And on a 3rd and 8, Christian Community trying to get a conversion. Here's Belcher, toss across the middle. The catch is made. Not enough for the first down.
just outside the
And a reception there by Miles Bernard. They do have clock management there to do 27 seconds, but now you face a 4th down and 4.
But it doesn't hurt you because you save the clock, so if you do potentially get that first down, then you save yourself a couple points by going out. And now the ideal play call is, looks like there's no one back. It looks like he's probably going to throw this thing.
4th and 4. Bernard again airs it out on the right side. The catch is made. Catch by Miles Bernard. Belcher to Bernard, and just short of the goal line. They'll stop it at 18 seconds to spot the ball. But my goodness, what a catch.
And that's a first down for CCS.
They're going to hurry up here because they have to spike it with no timeouts left. And they spike it here. They'll shave off to 15 seconds, and what a catch by Miles Bernard.
And he just drops back, faces no pressure, and they completely beat him deep right there. But I want to talk about the tackle. 1 yard short. You want to see games that we've won, where that's happened, and then teams have won because of great plays like that? I don't know, just something like the Super Bowl. Nothing too crazy.
And you look at it one more time here, the air out from Belcher.
Because now there's still hope for FCS to go into half just keeping 14 points on the board.
Again, the Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay halftime report is coming up in a few moments. 15.8 on the scoreboard as toss to the end zone, touchdown. Christian Community with 6 more points.
And CCS is in for the score.
And CCS with a little bit of trickery themselves. And that was a really great play call by CCS. Because I thought, oh, they had that to the outside. And then he throws the ball there, and they commit everything to the run because they only have 1 yard to gain. So there's nobody near any of these CCS receivers.
Malham with the passing touchdown credited, and chance to make it a 22-0 ball game with that touchdown.
If only the ball went to Asher Nix, it would only up his player of the game card just a little bit more than already has.
I'm sure he, hopefully Coach Flanders will send in a nomination for him as 2-point conversion attempt across the middle. It's intercepted, but on 2-point conversions, not
By Josh Sahlstrom.
in the NFL, yes. In high school, not yet.
That's the first time I've heard that.
A kick
Because
Yep.
he had the room. He could have went all the way.
Yeah, he would have went all the way, but it has not trickled down to high school yet. But that's the NFL rule where you can run it back on a 2-point conversion attempt for 2 points yourself if you run it all the way back to the touchdown. So about 8 seconds left, and keep it on screens as we're about to get to the halftime report. But with now a 20-0 score, it's still a 3-touchdown game, and for Franklin Classical, this is going to be a tough halftime speech, or at least one that Coach Austin is going to have to try to get his boys fired up.
It's just been filled with nothing but frustrating plays. That's all it is, just straight frustration. And I mean, you have a pick right there, but you can't return it. You have an interception, which leads to points going into the half. You've had so many drop balls. Hopefully, it doesn't get into their heads because this is still a ball game. But CCS does what CCS does best: running out the clock and then not giving opponents the opportunity to come back. So if you don't get something going here in the second half, then I mean, very early in the second half, things aren't going to look good for them.
And another squib kick there as it goes out of bounds. A flag for a kickoff going out of bounds. So that'll spot it at the 40-yard line with 8 seconds left. So Classical has some decent field advantage here. I mean, if you're very, very conservative, I don't think Classical has any more timeouts left, but if you're very, very conservative, you could get a second play in, but likely one play left.
You know, it wouldn't hurt to try and, because they're going to bring all their guys back. So no deep play trickery is going to work. I think you, instead of trying to truck something deep and hope for a miracle, try to go for a screen play, couple laterals, try to have fun with it before the half because, you know, what would it hurt you?
Looked like Franklin Classical was ready on the field, but Christian Community's players. That shows kind of the youth of the team, them being very young. They thought it was going to be re-kicked there.
I saw that. I was like, oh, they're running 8 deep there. Oh, there's nobody rushing.
So they will just need it to go into halftime. 20-0, the Colts come out incredibly well, and that defense shuts out the Knights for the first half. So after 24 minutes, see in a few seconds, let's just get right into it. Welcome to the Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay Halftime Report. I'm Spencer Thompson. That is Jack Helwig, the Hall of Famer for his high school, most likely. So 20-0 at the half right now. And this is definitely one of those games that we thought it would be closer. Classical and Christian Community struggling in some sense with the youth and getting their groove together. But Christian Community has just been at this point. It looks like the calls, the mentality of what their players are having. They're looking like they're a better coached team. But that's because Flanders has had several years to get that culture up and running.
Agree, but they're also just playing like the better team in general. They've been winning on offense, special teams, defense. It's just it's all frustration on FCS's part, and you know, I think it's really getting to them because they didn't even try to run a play there at the end. They just straight kneed it and went into halftime. I guess they just didn't want to play any risk into it after that interception. And it's gonna be interesting to see how they try and bounce back in the second half, but we will see.
Classical in the halftime locker room. They've got probably a tough and or fired up speech that's going to come from Austin. What's the kind of, as a player, what's the kind of speech you want from your, what do you want your coach to tell you when you're down this much?
Interesting. Well, I don't know what a coach is allowed to say in this league versus what I was told. I was told a lot of interesting things that
right.
I can't say on air.
Okay, fair enough.
But, you know, I think you just really need to don't give the guys hope. You need to chew them out. They're not playing good football. They made stupid mistakes. There's been some dumb penalties. Blocking hasn't been there. We need to get our head in this game or we're going to lose. And I know you guys don't want to lose at home because last time we were here, they lost at home, and it was not pretty. Yeah,
and that was a tough loss to Riverside Christian. Well, on the scoreboard, about 8 minutes left. We'll put that on the game clock. You're watching the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. We'll be back in just a few moments. Welcome to the second half of the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. The Christian Community School Colts leading by 20 over the Franklin Classical School Knights. At Fred Lane Field, Spencer Thompson and Jack Helwig bringing you every bit of the action from Franklin, Tennessee. Didn't expect to be here, but with the the Evangel Christian School Lightning game being moved back as Thompson trips up and stops at the 29-yard line. But with the Evangel and Heat game moved back to Thursday to avoid the storms, it was very fortunate for us to be here at Fred Lane Field. And of course, all our thoughts and condolences go out to Zachary Lone, who I'm sure is watching from his hospital bed right now as he recovers from his traumatic brain injury. We miss you, Zach. We're looking forward to have you back with us come playoff time, assuming that
He better be
assuming you'll
watching.
back.
What else does he have to do in the hospital bed?
He told us he was born, man.
Listen, I'm talking to you directly, Zachary. If you're not watching us, or if you are watching us, thank you. But if you're not, what are you doing?
He's trying to revamp his fantasy team this week.
I helped him with it already.
That is true. So, rush up the middle for Franco Classical, and it's now to a second down. And update right now for you from the Freedom Cowboys. It is 34-16, and the score is currently led by South Haven at home. They're leading 34-16 against the Freedom Cowboys. Freedom are leading, and now it is 20 unanswered points by the Patriots, which shows how incredible they are. Flag on the play.
G, we're going back 5. False start, offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
Again, Odell Bradley and company just keeping all the players safe here. We actually got to see Ronnie Perkins, who was on site, the officiating coordinator for the majority of the TSIAA. He's on site with Mrs. Tina, and hoping both of them stay safe as they travel up to see the Freedom Cowboys and South Haven Patriots. Here's a rush by Eli Cornett, flag in the backfield. So they will likely bring this back, but we do have, it looks like it's going to be holding call on Classical. So we'll get the story.
Hold, number 80.
We'll get the call from Bradley.
Holding on offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
So what looked like it was going to be a great play for Eli Cornett, it's brought back for a holding call for a 2nd and 20.
And looks like the stupid penalties are back, ladies and gentlemen. They're just beating themselves, honestly, because they can get this ball moving. It's these penalties that just keep killing them. And also that South Haven game, not surprised.
And pass attempt, and it's almost intercepted. Could have been the second turnover of the game for Christian Community, but Salstrom just tried to have it between his hands, couldn't get the grip.
And what could have been an easy 8 yards there to gain to make things a little bit easier on this third down, just comes up unfortunate because of, once again, another dropped pass.
And now on a 3rd and 20, Classical in an uphill battle for the remainder of the second half. And rushing up the middle, Hubbard trying to get back to the 40-yard line, but be fairly short of it as he faces a 4th down and 11. And, of course, with the amount of time left, even though it's early in the 3rd quarter, probably one of these situations where Classical goes for it, being down by 3.
I feel like you have to because, you know what's going to happen if Christian Community gets the ball back. They're going to chunk away at least 5 minutes, could potentially get a score, make this game really out of hands.
So now a 4th down and 10. Hubbard looking for someone to pass to. Several pump fakes, and can he get to his man? What a catch on the sideline. A great reception there. And Gerasi gets the catch and a huge gain for Classical.
Excuse my camera work. He faked me out at least 3 times here if we're going to watch it. I was waiting for it. And finally, but this is the football I've been waiting for. Them finally catching the ball deep downfield and making huge gains because they've been beating them. It's just they can't come down with the football. And now they finally do, and now they're in opponent territory.
And Hubbard again. He's under pressure. Avoids the tackle across the middle and incomplete. Managed to avoid the tackle there from, didn't catch the number for Christian Community, but Hubbard with the pass attempt incomplete, intended for Solstrom.
And great pocket movement there, honestly, because he avoids that sack. I mean, him stepping up right there completely gives him the opportunity to throw that football. And then, once again, another drop pass. Just slips right through his hands, and honestly could have been a really great play for this week.
Hubbard again, and we'll get another flag.
False start, offense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
5 yards, and sure that Austin will have these guys working on the fundamentals in practice, especially with the amount of penalties we've been seeing tonight. But we'll see how it goes.
I think we've had a minimum 100 yards of penalty, or 100 penalty yards this game from them.
Just from one team alone that will need to be adjusted. And pitch around, here goes Cornett. Eli Cornett trying to turn on the Jets, but stopped behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of several yards for a third down.
I'm going to be honest here. I don't like a play that you give the running back the ball 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then expect him to make a break at the very, very edge. You know, maybe 2 yards, maybe a 3-yard pitch, but not that far behind the quarterback. Just kind of sloppy there.
Officially a halftime score for the South Haven game, 34-24 going into halftime in Springfield. A 10-point lead for South Haven Patriots. Sawyers and company trying to get a W. Hubbard with the toss incomplete. Pass intended for Jed Mangrum. And 9:08 leaves it now to a 4th down and long. We saw what happened the last time they were in this situation.
And why wouldn't you do it again? You have, in this game, usually it's a way lower than a 50-50 ball, but this is a genuine game where you just throw it up and it's 50-50 because they have the talent to make the catch. Defense isn't playing good, but I kind of like FCS's because it's really just been drop balls because there's only been 2 real interceptions on deep balls tonight.
See if Classical can convert here. Hubbard with the scramble toss. There is a flag down. Several flags, and the catch is made by Mangrum. But we do have several flags down. We'll catch the replay on that, but we'll have to hear from Bradley. Give us the rest of the story.
Hold it. On offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Bring it back for several yards on that. We'll see if we can catch it on the replay because we did catch it there. Likely they may have called it on Zach Penrod there, but see if we can catch the holding.
It looked there on the right side. Yeah, he tackled the guy, and he got the ball off. He didn't need to. There's pressure from the left side, and that's where I thought it maybe could have came from. But he had the ball and inside the red zone. Just again, sloppy football, unfortunately.
And now a 4th down and more than a quarter of the field. Hubbard under pressure, gets tackled from behind, fumbled ball, and waiting on the ruling. Looks like Christian Community ended up with the ball. And now heading over to the 40-yard line. Christian Community was going to be a turnover on downs, but that lost ball gives a better field advantage.
And shockingly, Duval actually forced that fumble there on defense. Came around that right side and then swatted the ball there. And then they just fell on it. And he just did not feel that pressure coming at all. He thought he had a lot more time, a lot more blocking coming from that right side. But Duval just completely beat that right tackle out and forces the turnover.
38-yard line. And time will be called by Classical.
Timeout. Black.
Classical with the timeout with 8:44 left to go in the 3rd quarter. The Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week, sponsored by Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Grow, live, give, helping you fit all of the pieces together in your financial puzzle. Tennessee Heat Athletics. Visit TennesseeHeatSports.com. and by Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, Clarksville, and Goodlettsville. Let's get Jets. Deep toss across and incomplete there on a 1st down and 10.
Had him there just a little bit overthrown on CCS. That would have been the nail in the coffin right there, truthfully.
Now with 8:35 left to go in the 3rd, it's faced on a 2nd down and 10. And Christian Community, they've got fantastic field advantage and chance to get another score here and potentially put the game away. But it's one of these cases where the defense led under Cole Warren, they're not going to stand down.
Absolutely not. I mean, you can't stand down because the next score could really decide the game, and your offense hasn't put up any points at all. So it's kind of concerning, so you really need to play through your defense here.
Now on a 2nd down, a handoff on the right side. It's a rush by Malham. He's got space down to about the 21-yard line and brought down by Salstrom.
That was a good 1st down game by him right there. Honestly, if I'm Christian Community and I'm up by 20 and my defense has been playing as well as they have, let's have a little bit of fun with the play calls. Let's try and switch it up, do a little, see what works.
Look at this replay again. You catch the back end of it, but that slam by Salstrom. It's like he had some force there. And now down to
I
about.
don't see anything wrong with it.
Nope.
Little physical, but, you know, got to be careful.
About 8 minutes left to go in the 3rd. And there's another rush. Cy Irvine, the freshman, tries to get a gain, maybe about 5 yards there. Christian Community marching along now inside the red zone.
And what we don't hope for, if we want to go back to that tackle that we did a replay on, is frustrations are high for FCS, obviously, but we don't want to hope they get so high to where we have ugly football.
Second and 6, as Belcher is going to keep it to the left side, trying to get through that defense. He'll get the 1st down inside the 10, so make that now a 1st and goal.
And we're going to go back and we're going to watch this replay right here. I just want to point out the tackling there by FCS as he cuts it there to that left side.
You can see the defense trying to coordinate there, but just couldn't read Belcher.
And Belcher takes it there, and as you can see, it's a very high tackle, right around the neck, and that's why I'm saying it's all frustrations that are getting to him. And it's been silly things all game, and silly things like that that's going to continue to lead this or have this team play from behind.
Handoff again. Looks like several flags fly in the field, and looks like we're going to hear from. Christian looked like it may have seen a flag there, but nothing on the field, so 1st down and 10.
Just outside the 10-yard line.
Clock winding down in the 3rd as now on a 1st and goal, Christian Community trying to get another score to go up by 4 possessions. Colts only 3 losses on the year, one of them in conference, and that one in conference loss was in division of the Patriots. Belcher tossed to the end zone, touchdown. Another 6 points for Christian Community.
And I was actually going to ask you, how important is a stop right here, because I did not think they were going to get it, but I'm going to go back to it. A score right here really could put the nail in the coffin, and I think they just did right here because CCS really just took so much time, and he's really making he is making a player of the week out of himself. I mean, should I just go to the gas station and get a Chick-fil-A car myself right now, or are we waiting a couple days?
we wait a couple days for that. We depend on Coach's nomination, so hopefully Coach Flanders will nominate him. He's certainly performed well enough to deserve the nod, but right now, a chance to make it 28-0 with Malham in the backfield. And rush up the middle. And the two-point conversion is good. Make that 28-0 with 6:13 left to go in the third. This Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week continues in just a few moments.
6 minutes.
.6:13 left to go in the third quarter. Spencer Thompson and Jack Helwig in the game from Fred Lane Field, as looks like Cornett will get the ball and twist a little bit, staying on his feet. How about Cornett attempting this amazing kick return? Eli Cornett with no flags will get the first score of the game for Classical. And just the motivation that the Knights needed. And we have it right when he starts out here, Jack.
And you want to talk about a play to keep energy in the drive. He breaks not one but two tackles, and then it's just a race from there, and he comes in first place. What a well-needed score there for FCS. And Spencer, is there life for this team now?
They got to get this two-point conversion here, but Cornett getting his fans hyped up. I can't tell if he pointed to me or not on that.
Oh, he pointed to us, all right. he definitely wanted all the eyes on him, especially to all the, how many people are watching?
Thank you to all 36 of us watching right now. We got a game on our hands, possibly.
Hey, all 36 of you watching, that was towards you to keep watching.
Imagine if you were on the sideline with your camera there, man. He would probably grip the camera.
He'd probably just take it from me and just start doing a vlog right then and there.
What up, guys? Just got a touchdown here.
Now, how important is the two-point conversion here, truthfully?
Well, it makes a difference of a 22-point game to 20, and the fact that Christian Community has only gotten two-point conversions throughout the game, that could make the difference here. But first things first, they have to make it to try to get down the stretch. It might be the motivation they need as Hubbard tosses it incomplete.
Hubbard's pass on the 2-point.
The story of the game, the drop pass.
Yeah. Gerasi incomplete on the two-point conversion attempt, but now a 28-6. Classical got their first score. Can they get a second one later on? That's the big question. But
And it was a very good-looking score right there. I mean, that's exactly what you need, a big play. You don't need a slow drive going down the field. You need a quick score in order to keep yourself in this game.
yeah,
And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, it's a very close one for sure, and you notice that right now they're setting up for the kickoff, and again, this is turning out to be one of these contests where, yes, Christian Community goes up by by a 28-0 score. Now, Classical starting to fight back a little bit, so we might see. Might be that Christian Community is a little bit gassed because of how quick that they've scored, because we saw that first week of one of the first games we did this season between South Haven and Franklin Christian, where up 18-0, and then Franklin Christian came back.
Exactly. I don't think this game is over now with that quick score, but it's all about getting a stop on defense. I mean, there's been a lot of frustrations, but your defense isn't playing good with the interior run. You just need to make sure they don't get a big break and hopefully force a punt.
Try to force the Colts to go 4th and out, but let's see what they could do with this kick here. It'll bounce out of bounds at about the 35.
And like Spencer said earlier, they usually don't call those kickoff penalties or things like that. So, and unfortunately, that'll give CCS better field advantage than a normal punt would to start off the drive.
First and 10 on the 35-yard line, and got an update for you. The latest we have in the third quarter, it's started. It's 42-24. South Haven still leading by several scores, but now up 18 over the Freedom Cowboys. And with 5:58 left to go in the third, let's see if Classical can get something going here. Handed off from Belcher. Again, carry to Malham. Several Knights bring him down with a gain of about 7, 8 yards.
And they didn't get the first down there, so there's still a little bit of hope. And looks like there's an injury on the play. Can't tell who it is, but I know it's a FCS player.
It's an FCS guy down as their medical staff attending to him, and we will step aside for an injury timeout. That's a huge loss for Franklin Classical, hoping they could get him back in the game. But Joshua Sahlstrand is going to be looked at by the medical staff. Take him off. At least he's able to get up on his own feet and slowly walk to the sideline. But we'll see if we can get you any updates as we learn them. Belcher with the handoff, fakes it. He's going to carry it up the middle. Drew Belcher for the first down and a little bit more. How about him pushing 4 different players for Franklin Classical and make that a first down across midfield?
It's not just our running backs that are being physical. It's even the quarterback. Even Belcher is fighting for 4 or 5 yards for contact. And we're actually going to get a look right here on the sideline, talking to the training staff or the medical staff, seeing if he's all right. Helmet off. Going to be off the field for a little bit. We will report whenever he does go back on the field. But as of right now, just seems a little shaken up.
Time winding down is a first down in territory, but we will check the flag.
Flag on the play.
Offsides on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
Moved up 5 yards, a break for Christian Community on that, and
Penalties, drop passes. Unfortunate.
CCS with the give.
so
On the left side.
clock continues to wind down with about 4:20 left to go, and move forward for a 2nd and 5.
And I think that was Hubbard there on the tackle. It was a great foot tackle right there. Prevented him from going pretty far there on that play. Just a really good shoestring tackle there by Hubbard.
So now 2nd and 5. There's a handoff right side. Belcher handed it off.
CCS with the give around the right side.
And
Nowhere to go.
Cy Irvine finally pushed down by several Knights players. Gain of about 2-3 yards for 3rd down.
He stacked up after a gain of a couple. Going to bring us 3rd down and about 2 or 3 yards.
And one thing I actually did want to point out there was the blocking towards the right side. Looks like things were actually getting cut off. And then Asher Nix just took the running back and just shoved him 3 yards because there's nowhere to go. He said, all right, I'm going to take you forward. And, again, what you like to see.
Science Nation trying again to cheer their team as Belcher is going to take it up the middle. And it's going to be close on the ruling. Wait for a signal. First down.
A much-needed stop here for FCS. Now, what you're wanting to go for is not a 4 and out because look at the field position. You want a quick turnover in order to give yourself as much time as possible. And one thing I pointed out early game was whenever they're running that ball, it looks a little bit wobbly. A strip might not be the ideal move, but maybe a good little punch at the ball might be what it needs for that ball to come out.
Belcher again. And when anytime Malham has the ball, you know he's going to get positive yardage and does the same thing there. Second and gain of about 6.
Even if he doesn't get positive yardage, he will still find a way to move forward from where he's at. There could be 5 guys on him, he'll still find a way to get 1 extra yard.
You look ahead to this team's schedules, of course, with the team that's down right now in Franklin Classical. You look at their schedule. They got CCS at home right now. They are supposed to host Providence next week, their final home game of the season. Then they travel for the Battle of Franklin across the street and then up to South Haven. And here's another play from Christian Community as a big rush and another first down inside the red zone. And another carry like that is the reason why the Colts are not fazed by that first touchdown.
And I actually want to get a replay right here because this was a terrific run there, but something very, very scary happened. You see that? He tried to do a behind-the-back move like this is basketball, and that ball actually almost fumbled there because of that behind-the-back move. And, you know, fortunately, there's no fumble or anything like that, but that would have been the break FCS needed in order to turn this game around.
Again, their second to last home game. Travel across the street to Franklin Christian for the Battle of Franklin, and then travel up to Springfield, Clyde with South Haven. So tough a few games there, of course. Going to Division II as Belcher tosses across. An interception! Classical gets the pick. And how about that interception? Staying down the sideline. And Eli Cornett has put life into this Franklin Classical fan base.
How tired do you think he is after running that entire field? That's the much needed stop. I mean, it was a bad pass by CCS, but for him to take it, I mean, there's no moves, nothing fancy about it. He's just faster than everybody on the field and just completely beats everyone down that sideline.
And you see it one more time as he's being chased down. Asher Nix tried chasing down but knew he wasn't going to get to him, and just down the sideline, nobody could get him. All the way, but.
Black team, gonna be 10-yard penalty, be black ball, on the turnover.
So it's still their ball, I believe, an illegal block in the back. So no 6 points there for Classical, but at least they have new life with that.
There is new life, but that, again, a dumb penalty. That easily puts you in the game. That makes this game that much closer to a really big comeback. And just like that, it was taken away from him. You've denied the man a score. Just unfortunate because now you really need a score or this game's over.
Total of 5 turnovers thus far. It looks like about 3 for Classical and 2 turnovers for Christian Community. May even be tied at 3 evenly, but Classical at least has the ball on the 28-yard line. Hubbard looking for something to go with, airs it out to the right, and fighting with his receiver, couldn't get the ball in and incomplete.
Dangerous throw there, too, because there possibly could have been a flag because there was a lot of contact there at the end of the play. But fortunately, there wasn't one.
Just makes it a 2nd and 10, but it's those type of plays are what Classical need. It's what you mentioned earlier about the deep passes are really what's going to benefit Classical in the long run.
Well, when you're down by this much with this little time left, what else do you have to do? Because, you know, CCS is going to take a bunch of time off. You want to score as quick as possible, so that's the ideal offensive game plan.
As Hubbard gets a quick pass, the catch is incomplete. Just to the hands of Gerasi. Had the chance to possess it there and just dropped it, didn't secure.
I would be running until the sun came up if I were to have dropped this many passes tonight. And it's not just one person. It is a collective effort. Everybody has just been dropping them tonight, and that's just the sad reality.
As Hubbard looks again, toss, catch is made, but there are flags there. Looks like he potentially got the catch there, and we'll get the call in a few moments from Bradley, but it's one of these situations where we'll see what we got. Hearing, at least on our end, is possibly some 15-yard penalties. Bradley and company will talk it over.
Say, if this stands, this is a penalty or a turnover for the Colts.
While they're discussing it, we'll get the replay. While they're discussing it here, we'll see if we can figure out what they flagged here.
Hopefully Jack's camera work comes into play.
Here we go.
Pass interference on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Result of the penalty will be a first down.
So a break for Classical there, and we'll get the replay again while they're setting up the ball here and see where the pass interference went, because that was a close play that we just saw.
It was, and I really didn't see pass interference at a first glance, so maybe a replay could come in handy.
Yeah, he shoved it to him before the ball cleared contact, which, again, it's tough to make the call in that situation, but sure they'll see something about it. And the catch is made across the middle. Another reception just short of the first down marker, and Classical marching down the field.
I don't know, that call was a little bit too close for comfort there. It's just, I feel like he did play the ball there. I don't know if that was worthy of a flag, but it does create new life for this FCS offense.
First and 10 for Classical across midfield, trying to march down as they've got. The clock was stopped at 26, and now 10 seconds wasted with the snap as Hubbard keeps it. He's got some open space as he collides for the first down. How about a little bit more? Samuel Hubbard inside and to the pylon. What do they call it there? As we have a hand in there, get it out of focus. They're going to spot it just short.
No, he definitely got that one right there. I'm going to have to disagree.
We got the replay here as it's about 2 seconds left. We'll see it run down. But incredible by Hubbard to get to the outside as we'll look here.
Say the speed.
Tiptoe.
He falls into the end zone. I have to disagree.
Yeah, that one's close there, but sure they'll have a review here on that. Or they'll review it on Tuesday. Would have the tablet on the sideline, but
who's gonna run it down? Exactly.
Well, even that when it's in conference games, told we can't have the tablet anymore because of people not wanting it to be used. But it's the way it is.
In the great words of James Shannon, we digress.
We digress.
Even if that wasn't a touchdown, that's still a great play because now you're on the 1 yard line or like the inch yard, I guess you could say. I don't know what to call it. But if you get a score right here just before the fourth quarter, we have ourselves a true game.
And looks like we'll get a false start.
False start. Offense. Failure. First down.
And take that down to 1 second with the clock started on that. So move it back. It is a first and goal, and they move it back to the 5 yard line.
I'd like to actually get the viewers involved here because it's just been a penalty fest for FCS. Over under for 8. No, let's go 6 penalties for FCS. You guys taking the over? Or you guys taking the under? I would say let's do it. We're going to get the fans involved in the broadcast. I want to see that chat going. It's a good game here.
And thanks
Let's
to all
bring
38.
everybody together.
Thanks to all 38 of you watching. Final play of the third quarter. Hubbard, toss, touchdown as the buzzer goes. And Gerasi with the reception touchdown, and got a closer game on our hands than we did before.
And the touchdown there was on Nix. And again, huge.
Looks like he made it to about the 2-yard line.
That slight push at the end there.
It was called a touchdown.
And the rain's starting to come up. It's now the third quarter. It actually must have been, and a 2-point conversion attempt, it looks like. And goes Hubbard into the end zone. And score there. That's 2-point conversion attempt is good. And add that to now 28-14 as the rain does start coming down. We're protected with our equipment now.
Score that touchdown on that slant play.
So now 12 minutes left to go. It is 28-14, a 14-point game. We got a close one here in the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. .12 minutes left. The rain starting to shower down here at Fred Lane Field. Spencer Thompson and Jack Helwig bringing you every bit of the action here from Fred Lane Field in Franklin, Tennessee.
Zach, we miss you once again.
Thoughts and condolences, of course, go out to Zachary Lone as an onside kick attempt by Classical immediately fallen on at the 49-yard line by Christian Community's
Britain's kick is short.
kicking team. Now 11:50, 2 seconds shaved off, and Classical making a stop here is crucial.
It really is, but now that we're in this range right here, this is the kind of range where CCS is just going to go for it on 4th down. So you're not having to get just 3. You're not having to go for a 3 and out. You're having to go for a 4 and out and drive down the field. And now with the rain and the obvious things I've called out earlier with about how that ball's been a little bit loose, we might see a lot of turnovers this 4th quarter.
Showering down here as Malham gets back to about the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard gain, and now second down. Now about a second down and several yards gain, actually, 2nd and 7.
It has really been deceiving us. These what's it called? These angles, I guess you could say, because on my end it looked like it got to the line of scrimmage too, but nope, he gained a couple yards.
And movement there, we'll get encroachment. Let's see if the lapel module is working while it's getting soaked out there.
Encroachment on the defense, 5-yard penalty, still be 2nd down.
We're not going to talk about it not working. We're not going to jinx anything.
Nope. Nothing along those lines. 2nd down with a 5-yard gain, and Malham staying on his feet, stiff arm. Malham gets inside the 30, and another big gain from the freshman. Again, multiple reasons why Christian Community is staying in it. You'll see on the replay here.
That was a big boy run if you want to talk about it. I mean, bulldoze is one guy, a good stiff arm from another, and then as he gets wrapped up, he gets another 2 yards going towards the ground. And now they're in that range where FCS, if they get a turnover here, it's going to be a long field to drive down with only 10:45 to remain.
Belcher trying to orchestrate the offense. Got a first and 10 inside the 30, a low snap there. There's the rain is starting to factor in as it's good awareness by Christian Community's Logan Duval to immediately step on the ball and prevent a turnover on downs, but now still a loss there of about 7 yards.
You know, smart play by the freshman, honestly, just to fall on the ball. And like I pointed out earlier, and now the rain plays an even bigger factor to it, watch out for turnovers, because one crucial turnover for CCS could really turn the tide for the game.
Now about 10 minutes left to go. Winding down as Christian Community trying to control the tempo of this, not give Classical a chance. And pitched in the backfield. There's Malham again. Malham weaving through that defense. They can't wrap up a tackle. Finally get it down for a first down inside the 20-yard line. It's going to be difficult for Coach Flanders to decide who will be the player of the week because between Malham and Asher Nix, both been incredible.
Malham limping on that play, by the way, came up a little bit slow there, but really good block. Unfortunately, they're trying so hard to get a turnover, they can't even secure the tackle. You don't want to play a game that's based around turnovers. You want to get him down, and you only want to go for a turnover when it's necessary. You don't want the guy to get an extra 8 yards just trying to get a fumble.
As another rush up the middle, gain of several yards. As we're now getting under 9 minutes left to go in regulation, 28-14. They continue to run it down here.
So worst case scenario, CCS gets another score here. Is the game over? I would say no with the rain. Without the rain, I'm saying yes.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah, because they're just milking clock at this point.
Now inside the red zone on the 15, Christian Community trying to get a score here. Classical needs a defensive stop and fast. Belcher hands it off up the middle. Looks like another rush by Duval and pushes the pile. Gain of 5. And now a second down and 5. Second and 5. Belcher. Again to Malham. Back to the line of scrimmage for third down and 5.
Now, I'm going to say this right here. Isaiah really needs to start calling his timeouts because as CCS milks away this clock, you really need a red zone stop here because they milked us so much clock. If they score, the game's over.
Yep.
So you just really need to hope for a quick 4 and out and drive down this field. So saving as much time possible early, hoping for a quick score, is really the ideal game plan because if you get the ball back with 5 minutes left and all your timeouts, who knows what can happen.
As far as I'm aware, Classical does have all of their timeouts in the second half. So trying to conserve it as Belcher airs it out to the end zone. Did he catch it?
And it was dropped, unfortunately. Great defense there.
Rule clock yep, incomplete, fourth down. See if I can get the back end of the replay there.
It was actually by Ethan Keller, the senior there.
Here it is.
I would say he got beat deep there, but played the hands and then forces the drop pass, and now it's a fourth down. This is the most crucial play of the entire game because if they get a first down here, it's more clock milk, probably game over. If they get a stop here, there's fire in the offense.
Fourth down and 5. Malham weaves through. Is he going to get the first down? Pushes through and touchdown. Christian Community up by 3 scores. You see Malham just push that pile again, gets in.
And one thing
No
I used to get told a lot whenever I played, the most physical team at the end of the day will win, and it looks like that's going to be true.
Two-point conversion attempt for Christian Community. Belcher tosses it. No good. The pass intended looked like for Bernard. So now 6:48 left to go in the game. It is a 20-point lead for Christian Community. And remind you, the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Grow, Live, Give, helping you fit all of the pieces together in your financial puzzle. Tennessee Heat Athletics. Visit TennesseeHeatSports.com. And by Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, Clarksville, and Goodlettsville. Let's get Jets. Squib kick here, a little bit of an onside as Classical tries to get something going. Here's Eli Cornett, dangerous when he gets the ball, staying on his feet, avoiding the tackles. Cornett finally forced out of bounds at about the 38-yard line, and when Cornett gets that ball, he is dangerous. Does shave down to 6:37, but impressive play by Cornett.
We almost saw it again because that was the result of their first score was a kick return, and you know he got a couple yards there, caught me a little bit off guard. But now they've got really good field position inside the 50-yard line. If they can get a quick score, things may look up, but I'm talking about within a minute.
We'll get to our usual coach's shot after this play. Hubbard trying to push it down, airs it out on the right side for Gerasi. Who ends up with the ball there? It's Gerasi, incredible, staying on his feet, beat Asher Nix. And Gerasi is down, but the athleticism from that player, keeping his team in a chance to win.
And then, I mean, what a catch on Asher Nix, completely bullies him there and then gets the ball. But what at the end of the play there, that is
helmet came off, and that's why they call flag.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense. Will be handed this to the goal. First down, Black.
Face mask on the defense there, and looks like Gerasi is back up. He had his helmet taken off, so I believe he's out of the play for at least one.
Yeah. I mean, thank goodness he's okay, but a tackle like that can be very scary. I mean, he didn't just grab the face mask. He grabbed it and then turned his helmet so hard that his helmet came off. And that's just something you don't like to see, especially in a league like this. You want the goal at the end of the game is just everyone to go home safe and not on a cart or anything like that.
And a 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. So a penalty here, or if they get it to the 1-yard line, it'll extend it to a 1st and goal. But we'll see what Classical can do here. As they roll the clock, 6:20. Toss to the end zone, batted at the last second by Belcher.
Good D.
There is a flag down.
We'll see.
We'll see what we get from Bradley, and waiting for the call from the officials.
Pass interference on the defense. Hands the distance to the goal. It'll be first down.
Bradley, Odell Bradley getting the call in there, and automatic first down for Classical. And rush up the middle. Can he get to the end zone? Just short. A few yards short as about 5:50 left to go in regulation as Classical trying to get a play signal here. Running down time.
And really poor time management there by Coach Isaiah, because easily 20 seconds just off the clock right there. There's no urgency to get to the football, and it's just very unfortunate because you've made a very good break to get up here.
As Hubbard goes into the end zone, Classical with another 6. And with 5:24 left to go in the game, it's still close, but Classical has got a long way to go.
And then there was just nobody catching up to him. I mean, completely finds the gap inside the defense. And then when there's no room for the defense, he only needs 1 yard. Of course, he's going to pick up that 1 yard with a hole that big. And now it's a 14-point game, could potentially be 12. Still a 2-score game no matter what happens here. But with only 5:22 remaining, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of push FCS makes in order to try and get the comeback.
It is a 2-touchdown game. If 2-touchdown game, regardless, would now make that 14 points. So they have to get 2 touchdowns and one of their 2-point conversions to tie it up. 5:24 left to go in regulation. 42-15 is the record of Jordan Flanders overall. That's actually Tommy Thornton, the defensive coordinator, has been around for a while. Probably get him in just a few moments. There he is. Coach Jordan Flanders, and put aside football. Well, put aside football as we start having some water come down near our equipment, but I think safe for the moment. But put aside football, Coach Flanders almost was about to go to Hawaii. His brother missing in action, stationed in Oahu, but fortunately within Wednesday, Thursday, they did find him, and almost had he talked to us about it pregame. He almost had to have everything change around with the Colts because of him having to quarantine for 15 days over in Hawaii to cover his family. They couldn't find him, but fortunately they found it. They found his brother and everything, but just a rough week for Coach Flanders to try and get everything going. And of course, thoughts with his family as they found his brother while he was in combat, as the Colts fall on it back at the 32-yard line. But it just shows you that there's more to this game than football for sure. And Coach Isaiah Austin, first season, and it certainly has been a struggle for Classical, but of course with their record right now, Isaiah has yet to get to a positive record at this point. They're 1-3 right now, and the chance to go 1-4. Chance likely to go 1-4 unless the tide turns here, which it very well could. So both coaches tonight. As Belcher hands it off to Malham, getting the left side and fighting with Cornett. Can't get the tackle in there. Forced out of bounds finally by Penrod, and see what happens here with 5:10 left to go in the game. At least able to stop the clock there by getting out of bounds at the 45.
And first down, 5 minutes left.
First and 10 as it's pitched. Malham again. And gets tripped up in the backfield.
And I believe that was Dominic there on the tackle.
In the backfield for a loss.
Yeah, it may have been Dominic Thyssen, the junior, making the tackle there, but the tackle for loss back to about second down and 11.
Yeah, it was definitely Dominic, because I thought that was a 5 or an 8, and I just realized, oh, they don't have an 8. So good job, Dominic, on the tackle.
4.5 and winding down here. hopefully we'll get the interview with Coach Flanders after the game or Coach Austin, depending on if the comeback can be orchestrated here. But if the result holds, then it'll be Coach Flanders as carry there by Irvine. Cy Irvine staying on his feet and finally called for forward progress at about the original line to gain for a third down.
And as you saw, they were really trying as hard as they could to get that ball pried out right there. But unfortunately, I mean, he tucked that ball. He had every bit of strength in him. And I believe there's a
timeout
Colts
called
play.
by
I believe it is number 16.
looks like Cy Irvine came hard to the ground down there. The coaching staff is going to come over and look at Irvine, and we will step aside for an entry timeout. .402 left to go in the game as Christian Community is on a 3rd and 11. Wind blowing here. The rain has died down here at Fred Lane Field. And pitch in the backfield. That's to Chun.
CCS with the pitcher on the right side.
Braden Chun getting a big gain and another first down across the 40-yard line. And we'll get a replay on that for Chun. And it's those kind of plays that now Christian Community is just trying to run down the clock and lock it up here on the road.
And I hate to say it, but that is the first down that's going to take the game. I mean, he just completely, again, he bullies this FCS team to get the first down. I mean, he dragged them for easily 8 yards, and that's just been the story of the game, just physical football on CCS's part. And the clock stopped.
Looks like he may have been spotted out of bounds.
Well, that's some sort of break if you want, if you're an FCS fan watching from home.
Again, thank you to all 36 of you watching tonight's game. And first down and 10 for Christian Community. Again, Classical down by 14. Belcher gets the handoff, and Aaron Malham brought down in the backfield. There's a flag. See what the call is from Bradley. And looks like it's called in Christian Community. There's going to be a holding call.
For a loss. Looks like a holding call on the offense. Brings up a decision for Franklin Classical.
Waiting for the call from Bradley.
Hold on offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
An interesting decision to not decline that penalty right there. I don't know if I like that.
Because it would have gone to a second down had they declined it there, but
Because now they have 4 downs to go with and 4 downs to burn. Because I mean, you do have all your timeouts as FCS, but you know, you have a free down right there to burn, and it's.
Yep.
I just don't like that. I think it's not
and the
the
clock
optimal call.
continuing to run as well. So now a 1st and quarter of the field.
CCS
Belcher with the
the
handoff up the middle, and That's Chun trying to push through and push the pile back to the original line to gain. Makes it a second down and 10.
Close to the original line of scrimmage on first down.
And the only reason I mentioned that penalty that they accepted was because I heard some fans just saying they wanted the penalty declined, and obviously they accepted it, and now they've got to the original marker, and now it's 2nd and 10, which it would have originally been. And now, how much time? A minute has gone off the clock, and
Yep.
now all hopes for a comeback have just been drained out of FCS, unfortunately.
Time winding down here in Franklin. Handoff again, and stopped just a few yards away from the line of scrimmage. What was a 2nd and 9 is going to be a 3rd down and 5, maybe a 3rd down and 6. Just
And
over 2 minutes left.
hopefully we'll get to, or you will get to talk to Coach Flanders
Yep.
while I get the camera work up here and everything like that.
That'll be coming up on the post-game show. We'll get Coach Flanders' thoughts. Usually he likes to talk to his guys post-game, so we can we take it a little bit. You and I, we have some banter where I won't even be able to hear what you say from up here in the press box, but we'll see how we'll make it work.
What is CCS's next game again? It's
They've got their game against Christian Community. Their next game is they have a bye week, and then for the hosting a playoff game, his pass is caught on the right side
CCS with a pass.
and pushed there. Looks like a first down from this angle.
20-yard line.
So that's another first down. Yep, that will essentially end the game. So they're on a bye week, and then their game at home, their final home game of the regular season is hosting the Lighthouse Lions. That's for 2nd, 3rd place in the North. So another big game there as we get a timeout called.
Timeout. Black.
Classical on the time there with 1:22 left to go in the 4th. But that game, and then at Christian Community on the road, they come back here to Franklin, so they stay in Franklin for both their games against Franklin Classical here, and then about 3 weeks' time they'll be back across the street at Jim Warren Park.
which I wouldn't really call that an away game, to be honest, because you're going literally.
Well, for Christian Community, it is an away game. It's just that they're coming back down here. But Classical next week, they collide or 2 weeks from now, they collide at the Battle of Franklin. But for Christian Community, bye week, hosting Lighthouse for the right to host a playoff game, which Christian Community is the home of the 2020 TSIAA football championship. And so at least for now, the road will not go because of the win against Lighthouse and Christian Community by South Haven. The road will go through South Haven in the north for the playoffs this year. But
and with South Haven, I mean, completely dominating the Freedom Cowboys tonight. I mean, South Haven looks like a really scary #1 seed. If we are, do we have a
yep,
final?
64-30, the final from South Haven. The Patriots get the victory at home against Freedom. That's a long drive back to Huntsville, and looks like it's just going to be knee down Christian Community in victory formation. As
Well, to our friends down in Huntsville, from when we last saw you guys, at least you scored some points. Like, you did a lot better than the Colts did. That's a little bit of an upside. Not a bad game, 30 points. Let up 62. We haven't watched the game, obviously, because we're here. But we'll probably watch it on Sunday, have some thoughts about it. But, good effort, I would say, from a guy that has not watched the game and just sees the score. Also, I actually want to talk about this. Malham has actually had a really good game and also could be a Player of the Week candidate because, I mean, he's just completely ran all over, and I really am curious to see how many yards he's actually gotten from today's game.
yeah, that's another nominee, and looks like Christian Community in the final victory formation. The Colts will take another victory on the road against Franklin Classical, and so far the streaks are going for 8-9 years in a row. The Classical loses to Christian Community 34-20. That's the final score here from Fred Lane Field. We will have the post-game interview in just a few moments as they head to midfield to facetiously shake hands at a distance, and that's going to wrap it up here officially. 34-20. Flanders gets victory number, I believe, 53 54 on the year. Maybe the number of the incoming Super Bowl, something
54
along
on the
that.
year?
So it's 54 on his season.
I was
But
gonna say.
but
Like,
anyways.
what kind of year are you?
we'll be down for the post-game show. We'll see you guys in a few minutes from there. Don't go away from the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week.
We would like to apologize there. A little bit of technical difficulties from our part. Flanders is going to go talk to his guys here while Spencer goes and runs, trying to get this interview with Coach. A 34-20 win there for the Colts going into a bye week, and then a very last game against Lighthouse that'll determine seeding for the playoffs. And what a great win for both of them. Truthfully, now, let's see about this chat. I was actually curious. They already have 6. I'm guessing that's for the over-under. I meant for the rest of the game, and I'm pretty sure we hit the over there. So, just like to point that out. Spencer going to get that interview. We will return when he gets Coach.
Welcome, everybody, to the post-game show. I'm Spencer Tomstad, Jack Helwig up in the broadcast booth. We're waiting on Coach Flanders, talking with his guys. We were going to have him a second ago, but technical issues, of course, with our equipment. We got it all figured out and squared away. 34-20, the final score. Franklin Classical School in their second-to-last home game of the year, unfortunately taking the loss to Christian Community. And the Colts going into their bye week, they're as hyped as ever to try and get that number 2 seed in the North locked up and host a playoff game in where 2020 will be the playoffs for the TSIA will be hosting the championship game at May Flanders Field in White House, Tennessee. And Jack, this score, of course, it's not 100% reflective of Franklin Classical School, but it's one of these matchups. And, of course, whatever response you give, I won't be able to hear you. But it's one of these matchups where Christian Community, they just got the job done on the road. And when it comes to a tough team to face in Franklin Classical School, the only place to really go from here is up for Franklin Classical.
Well, I get to say whatever I want because Spencer's not up here. But, yeah, like I was saying earlier, Franklin Classical, they just beat themselves at the end of the night. The drop passes you can forgive, but obviously, silly penalties over 150 yards probably. We don't have the exact stat of penalty yards, and that's just completely unacceptable because this game they had in the bag, but just silly mistakes and also misusage of penalties and timeouts and things like that also cost them this game. But, there's good things to come.
And for the Freedom Cowboys in the South, 64-24, the final score on that. That's a reflection of how the Freedom Cowboys, they were up 16-14 going into the second quarter, and it shows how Coach Collins and company, they know how to fight. But with that dominant South Haven offense and the combination of Andrew Crawley, Emmanuel Day, and Drew Atkinson, those three that have been around each other since their freshman year in that state championship season, it's a sign of they're hungry. They want another state championship to bring back to South Haven.
Absolutely. I mean, this South Haven team is stacked. I mean, but they also know how to fight. They know how to play from behind. They know how to take a lead and go with it, as we saw with the CCS game. That was a terrible broadcast with James and everybody. That's why Spencer doesn't take off. But, whoever South Haven faces, because I'm going to lock in South Haven to go all the way. It would be shocking if they didn't with the roster that they have and how they've been playing. But whoever they play, the other team's going to have to bring it all because of the way they've been playing recently and about all that talent they have. Because, like Spencer said, matchups are the key, but it's going to be one scary matchup to go against them.
And, of course, last night we had the Evangel Christian School Lightning and the Tennessee Heat. That collision between those two essentially Goliaths of eight-man football, at least this season. Of course, the Evangel Lightning losing to Ezekiel Academy, their only loss in eight-man football. The only loss that has been taken by Tim Smith in a long time. First loss of his career. And against a tough Ryan Scott and Tennessee Heat team, it's one of those matches. They moved it back to Thursday, and although they wanted to play under Friday Night Lights, it gave them so much more meaning for them to get that win under those conditions.
Absolutely. I mean, getting a win like that is not only huge, but it's a momentum booster. I mean, momentum is a very key thing when it comes to playing out these seasons like this, so especially going late, because whenever you're going late into the season, even though, playoffs for most teams aren't going to be achieved and things like that, and I know everyone's not going to the playoffs, but it's really good just to build momentum to finish out your season strong.
And again, 34-20, the final score here from Fred Lane Field. We will recap the rest of the games on Extreme Radio on Sunday, presented by Grace Point Healthcare, 4 p.m. on Sunday. We'll recap the minimal action we had in eight-man football across this weekend, and, of course, get you set for, I believe, week 8 now of eight-man football as we are winding down and getting closer and closer to the playoffs for the formerly Middle Tennessee Athletic Conference, and now the Tennessee State Independent Athletic Association. You could see in the background here Coach Flanders and company talking to his guys, getting them all prepared. They should be done any second now, and we'll get Coach Flanders. For the first time, we'll get him on microphone for the post game. Unfortunately, didn't get the chance to get him on air because of their losses to the Tennessee Heat and to the Freedom Cowboys earlier in the season. Just the third game that we've covered for Christian Community School Colts this year. We'll definitely see them in the playoffs, depending on we'll, of course, see them in the playoffs with Sacred Heart's ineligibility. And will we see Christian Community for the first time on the road in the postseason as a number 3 seed, or will we see them host a playoff game in the first round for the first time, of course, with the 16 playoff? Whether or not they win or lose against that Lighthouse team in 2 weeks' time, it will be the first game that Christian Community will travel to another school, assuming they win in that first round game. But it's one of those situations where with Christian Community, the advantage for them is the field, the 40-by-80. And in this case, Jack, for the Colts, because they took that loss to South Haven, they're fighting for the right to play a home playoff game in their home turf and get that true home field advantage in the 2020 state championship.
Exactly. And, the key to the Colts winning that game after coming off, well, they have an entire bye week to prepare for this. But not even that. If they can carry what they've done tonight and then take that into Lighthouse and then completely dominate and really go for that home field advantage, then I have full confidence in CCS, because home field advantage for CCS is very crucial and what has led to their state championship wins. Because as we've said, this is going to be one of the first times, if any, that they're going to have to travel during this playoff time and things like that. So you just want to look at that Lighthouse and Christian Community game. If they don't take things and they make silly mistakes, and if they don't play the game as they played tonight, Lighthouse could pull in an upset, and then who knows what Christian Community is going to go like it, or what they're going to play like in the playoffs.
And you'll see you guys see the helmet schedule on our social media coming down the final stretch here. You hear the claps behind me a very little bit. They're about to wrap up, and Coach Flanders will be here in just a few moments. Just a reminder, everybody, Extreme Radio presented by Grace Point Healthcare will be on Sunday at 4 p.m., our regularly scheduled programming. Myself, Jack Helwig, James Shannon will break down all the minimal action, as mentioned, that only about 3 games happening in eight-man football this weekend. We'll recap all of that for you on Extreme Radio presented by Grace Point Healthcare. As they're wrapping up here, Coach Flanders talking a little bit with his guys here. So, Jack, while I get Coach Flanders here, tell us a little bit about not necessarily a preview, but some of the things that shocked you the most from this weekend.
Well, I mean, we've already he can't hear me obviously, so, but I've already talked about this. So while he's going to get the coach, I'm going to tell you guys to tune in to Sunday. Hopefully, we can actually get Zachary's back. Once again, Zachary, we miss you very, very much, and hopefully have your return. We will try to get him over Discord because we are not going to be sure if he's actually going to participate. If not, you guys should definitely hear what I'm going to have to say about what shocked me this weekend in my section called Sound Off this Sunday. It'll be right before we do our pregame predictions as we are about to get coach and go right back to Spencer.
Yes, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we now have, for the first time on the post-game interview of this season, Coach Jordan Flanders. Now, I believe win 55, the same amount of wins as the Super Bowl, either that or close to it, so congratulations on that accomplishment. But let's talk about this contest with Franklin Classical. Of course, the lead the entire time was to you and the Colts, but once they got that first touchdown and started creeping back, what did you tell your guys to keep the course and get the W on the road?
We just, last week, and hats off to South Haven, they completely took it to us, but we felt like we had to have a response of some sort, and so we were late every snap last week, and
That's adorable.
sorry.
No, it's all right. That's adorable.
Okay.
Cutest 8
Hey, we just felt like we didn't win a snap last week, and so tonight the mantra wasn't about winning, it wasn't about we're going into fall break here now. It was about reestablishing yourself as a player, and we're a team full of young, inexperienced guys that have gained some experience this season, but now they're in a part of a season that they haven't been in and haven't been counted on. So I was proud of the response tonight. I told them, I said, it's going to take a resolve response all game long. And, for Classical started making it close. We can't seem to close out like all year long. We let guys back in. But that's fine. It's building character within us. It's building a good resolve. And hats off, Classical played a great game. I'm just proud of our guys for rebounding.
And especially a big win on the road for you guys motivational-wise, especially next week you've got a bye week. That is adorable to have your daughter witness these wins. That'll be good stories to tell her later on. But next week you guys are on the bye week. You have some time to rest. But next week is a win for who's going to host the playoff game or who's going to travel on the road in the north, and especially for you guys to host. That's all good. But you're hosting against Lighthouse Christian School, which it always seems the second to last week of the season or the last week of the season you face off against the Lions in that spirited rivalry. So what are you going to tell your guys going into the bye week and in a big win to have a home playoff game at May Flanders Field?
We just got to continue. I know I've already said resolve, but it's about keeping our resolve. We can't look ahead and think that we've accomplished anything. I think our guys got a little bit complacent after our Lancaster game, and we saw what happened right there. So our message will be after this game: don't get complacent. We're not back, okay? We just held serve here. So Lighthouse is a good ball club. I think we took them for granted last game of the season. They ended up whooping us, and they didn't make the playoffs last season. And so this year it's going to be about who gets that playoff home game. So I want to win for our seniors. We've got 3. One of them's out with a shoulder for the season, but that game against Lighthouse has a lot of meaning. So we'll definitely, hopefully, we'll be back up for it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how you guys perform the rest of the season. Congratulations on the win, Coach. Safe travel to you guys back home. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Well, that's going to wrap it up here from Fred Lane Field. Again, 34-20, the final score of the Christian Community School Colts. Get it done on the road. On behalf of Jack Helwig upstairs, as well as Zachary Lone watching from afar, and James Shannon, our producer, back at his house, I'm Spencer Tomset. Extreme Radio is on Sunday at 4 p.m. We'll see you